So feeling all the things that you feel and like all the discomfort, how do you stay composed? So if I'm, working on a project for somebody, but I need like it's that I need to be clear on how I best meet the expectations of my client. And so I reach out to Coach Candice to help me like execute that. You had a model to leverage through that experience.
hmm
Do you have like mentors or folks that you lean into? Welcome, greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is Ernest Comer III, and thank you for joining the Pancakes from Scratch podcast. I like to connect with good people doing good things, and today I got a good friend of mine, the one and only Coach Candice is in the building. What's happening with you?
What's going on? I am so grateful to be here. So thank you. Welcome myself. Welcome everyone that's listening. It's beautiful Friday morning.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I appreciate you making the time to get online with me and just chat it up a little bit. It's all good. I do have a handful of questions that are like prepared, a little conversation for us to get to. But before we dive into that, what's giving you energy this week?
Energy this week. Oh goodness. It's a new year. So I'm in that Q1 zone, just trying to get myself prepared to what my expectations are for this year. I also have to be self-driven because my daughter's not feeling well this week.
Oh man,
so,
sorry to hear that.
so she got me in a full-time mommy mode.
Mommy, I need you.
Right? Yes. Like, can I get breakfast, lunch? Oh, I haven't ate. It's 2 o'clock. I'm like, oh, yeah, let me get that.
I feel you. It be the struggle sometimes, but
Look, definitely.
we got to do it. We got to do it. I ain't even mad. These kids, listen, they pop up on you. It's like, wait, you didn't eat nothing yet? What day is it?
That's how it was yesterday. I was like, oh, it is like 1:30. Yeah. You probably hungry. You right. Let me at least get you.
Because they not gonna give it to you straight. It ain't, my stomach hurt.
Yeah.
My head hurt.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this child? Now you got to be Inspector Gadget. You got to figure out what's going on.
I'm like, oh yeah, it is 1:30. I ain't brought you no breakfast. My bad. Late lunch.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, I was like, let me get you some snacks. Don't do over. I know I sound like a mom right now. She's surviving though. She's surviving.
That's it. And why? But I don't understand why these kids like to be picky. Like, listen, if you're gonna sit here hungry and you ain't making no money, you better figure out how to make you a little cracker sandwich or something.
Something. Look,
you want Chick-fil-A every day.
Now my child is saying she wants sushi. Can we get sushi? Sushi.
Listen,
You ain't even feeling good. Sushi is not the right. You need some. Some
listen, you are not old enough to have this type of palate. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna need you to get that together. My daughter on her 7th birthday asked us to take her to get some hibachi. Ma'am, not doing this. Not doing this.
At this point, you can only blame yourself. So I was like, it's me.
That's how it goes.
Right? I set myself up for this.
Now listen, Leela, my wife gonna blame me, but we know the truth. I'll make sure she ain't hear me.
Right?
Well, cool. Good. I'm sorry to hear the little one isn't feeling well, but we got to deal with that sometimes and get through it. Cool. One of the first questions that I really like to get into during these conversations is, as you reflect on some of your biggest challenges, personally, professionally, is there one that stands out as something that helped shape who you are, who you've become through your life?
If I would say it's not necessarily like one challenge. I think it's more of a theme, right? A theme of transition,
Okay.
because it's consistently transitioning from employee to employer,
Mm,
from a mentee to now being a mentor for others, transitioning from, that regular every 2 weeks I'm getting paid,
yeah.
especially being an introvert. So I'm a natural introvert. Like I could be in the background, piping away, getting things done. Everybody else in the front, yep, shine on. So now have to transition to be that, that front line, that connector, and constantly being somewhere, right?
Always.
Yes. So I think that's the theme, just the constant transition, so that, to be successful. So it's not it's a challenge for me and for many, because, it's unknown on the other side. We don't know what it looks like.
That's it. That's
We
it
don't know what to
exactly.
expect.
I think it's a lot of people who have this like an internal like a fear of success or
Mhm.
professional growth. And it's hard to label that. It's hard to name it. But I think, to your point, it's the transition that's concerning, like the change.
Yeah.
Because outside looking in, right? Just being able to say I went from employee to employer, right? I went from
Mhm.
mentee to mentor. Like that's a little
Right.
flex, you know.
Can be. In the midst of, you're like, oh my gosh, hold up. So now,
That's it. Like, how do you navigate that space though? Like you recognize the internal turmoil, but then also you got the world looking at you like, oh, she done did it.
yeah, yeah.
What
So
does
yeah,
that
so
feel like for you? What does that feel like?
it's scary. It really is. It's a scary thing, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
I am. I'm like, I don't know when the next project coming in, right? But I still got these staff to pay. I
Yes.
still got bills, right? So again, it's maintaining that image, right? That facade, that confidence,
Mhm.
right? Knowing that, again, you're here for a reason. Like, and so I feel that I'm purpose driven, and I feel like I'm here, like I'm doing what I love. So it doesn't feel like work. So when I go out there and I'm like, okay, whew, it's a tough week. It's like we got a lot going on this week. But
Yeah.
suck it up, pull up your big girl pants and get out there. Be ready with your 5 second bitch.
Come on. Come on. Got to stay ready.
Right. But I still fumble. It is.
Come on.
I still fumble.
It go like that though, but like so feeling all the things that you feel and like all the discomfort, how do you stay composed, right? Like what's in you or what's around you that keeps you centered and focused so that you can show up with that confidence?
Yeah. I have great people around me, the people that work with me, as well as just friends and family that kind of encourage me and let me know that, again, like you're here for, like, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Like, you've designed yourself to be successful. So yes, it's not always going to be roses, right? There's going to be challenges, but also from history, you push through. And I remind myself of that as well. Like, I've made it this far. You don't make it. You're good. Right? And
That's
so
it.
just that constant reminder, like, you're where you're supposed to be. Whatever comes your way, you gonna work on through it.
Do you find yourself having to like look for affirmations? Cause so for me, like I'm somebody who if I do a good job at work, I feel good when somebody comes and says, man, that was incredible. Like you did a great job at work. But in entrepreneurship, that looks different.
Does
So
it?
like how do you find that?
So I actually find that because I don't necessarily market what I do, right?
Yeah.
So I get my customers or my clients refer me like 99% of the time. So that's affirmation in itself. Like, okay, Candice, you were able to grow and sustain because you're good at what you do out from word of mouth. So when my clients are saying like, oh yeah, I referred so-and-so, when I get that phone call, you were referred by so-and-so, I'm like, that's that affirmation I need to keep saying, okay, you got this, you know what you're doing.
That's it exactly. Because you listen, you are definitely Coach Keep a Bag Candice. Okay, stay on the move. Every time I see you in a new country, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I ain't seen not one Coach Candice commercial. What is happening right now? But it's referrals. That's what works
Yes.
for you.
It is definitely referrals.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
And again, that's what as I mentioned earlier, it's like when I don't even feel like getting up and getting out. So just being in that right time, that right space, connecting. The network is your net worth, right? So the people that surround you, that's where you get those referrals from. And that's how they hear about what it is that you're doing. And those introductions mean everything. So it might not be a lead today, but sometimes it's months, year. I have reoccurring clients like, okay, kids, I think we got it now. And then 2 years later, like, okay, so we back.
Listen, and you try to warn them. You be trying to warn them. It's like, listen, all right, now we got it, but
yeah, you still need maintenance. I'm here to help with the maintenance part. But if you got it, hey, if you're confident, I love it. Yeah. I'm here.
Listen, that's that, and you got to just let it be. Like I'm here, but
exactly.
Go off, sis. I ain't mad at you.
All right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about like what it is you do exactly? You mentioned therapy was part of it, but like help me understand.
So goodness, where do I start? So overall, C. Ellis and Associates, we merge business and psychology, resources and tools in helping individuals, organizations, companies, and it's more so clients in the social service field or industry, but it's applicable to any business that it is. And when I say psychology, it's more so like dealing with the people that you are connecting with. So looking at that from that angle. So whether it is your employees, whether it is your clients what could be their mindset and what it is that you're doing, right? So that it's properly received. So whether it's the paperwork or it's the community engagement, or it is connecting with licensing from DHS, like what is it that they're expecting from you so that you can show up your best self?
Okay, so if I'm, working on a project for somebody, but I need, like, it's that I need to be clear on how I best meet the expectations of my client. And so I reach out to Coach Candice to help me like execute that.
Yes. Yep.
Say more about like where the psychology fits in.
So the psychology is more so of your overall approach, right? So again, it could be internal because again, it is pushing past that fear. Like, okay, do I want to, is this a potential client? Is this a potential project? How do I connect? So sometimes it could be me just working with the individual themselves, right? To gain that confidence in making that connection. Sometimes it is, okay, you're confident, but the other person, whether it is your employee, right, they need some motivation. So again, what is it that you do to assist that person to show up? Okay. So again, it's just navigating whatever those problem areas are and trying to figure out, okay, what is it that you yourself need to do in order to be successful in that particular situation?
But you sneaky with it though. Okay. I see what you did. So, okay, for those that don't know, I done did a few projects with Coach Candice, all right? Now, so we go way back, 4 flats on the Cadillac, etc. Okay. I'm remember, like, first of all, super dope on just the project management side of things, right? Like we need to get this thing done. Coach gonna have it like locked in. Easy, no problem, all day, every day, no problem. But then like I come with the questions because I remember we had a call and it was like, listen, am I doing a good job? That was like a super helpful conversation, but I didn't even realize that was like part of the work. I thought you was just giving me game. Okay.
Right? So that's exactly what it is.
I got you. I love it, man. What made you like come up with this model? Like what led you to build your business to be what it is?
So I used to say that it was kind of by happen chance, because if you look at my degrees, it's like, okay, MIS, computer science, business management. Then it was a master's, in business. And then it was psychology, right? So it's like, how do you fit all that in?
Yeah.
So working through the companies that I was with and just working through life, I realized that psychology is in everything that we do, right? And it's about internal. And again, if you can reflect on how you're feeling in the situation, whether it's personal or professionally, then you know how to navigate to get what it is that you want, the outcome.
Okay.
Right. So that's the foundation. So when you look at your operations, how you're set up, how it is that you communicate with your employees, how you communicate with your consumers, right? How you show up personally when your personal life is in disarray, right? Yeah. How do you still show up professionally and still get those outcomes that you desire? So just taking all of that, and then I've also had the pleasure of working with entrepreneurs for like pretty much my entire career. So looking at them, right, and saying, oh, okay, yep. I see the challenges.
Yeah, over time.
Right, right. But I also see the successes, right? So what made them successful through the midst of everything that was happening? So then, as I said, just taking what I've learned, what I saw, both on paper as well as through just experience, hands-on, and then just applying that to the individuals that I serve now. Got
you. So it's like a lot of the learning it's what I'm hearing is a lot of the learning comes through experience now. You had the degrees, so like that gives you like the academic side of it, but then through the experience, you build that understanding.
Yep, the hands-on, seeing it, first line experience. And then even internally, right, seeing that in myself, like, okay, this is what I saw when I'm from the outside looking in, from what they were experiencing, what they might have been thinking, right? Those challenges, again, that, okay, am I doing a good job? Where's that next project coming in so that, I can ensure that my hundreds of employees are being provided for, so that it's a domino effect.
Right. Absolutely. Now, how long have you been doing this?
So I officially started my business in June of 2016. I did take like a sabbatical because when I started my business, even though I knew like the social service field and I knew like I had, the degree and the experience in growing a business, I didn't understand the consultant side of things. So I took that sabbatical to go back, and that's when I was working with Thor Consultant. And it was great because it was just a team of two and we did so much, right? So I built my method around how Leah Hargett had set that up. And that was a great experience overall, just to kind of get those tools that I needed to be a consultant. And then that's when I was able to design how it is that I want to go back and approach and brand my business.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So you had a model to leverage through that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like mentors or folks that you lean into?
Oh, definitely. Leah is one of my staple. If not for Leah, I'd be like, oh, Leah.
That's what's up.
groundwork too. She's like, no, Candice, you got it.
Hey,
Just look at it. And now I actually do have a business coach that, again, I touch bases with at least once a month to kind of say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, my vision. And again, and just reassessing where I'm at and if it still aligns with where I want to be.
okay, so, but you had a mentor,
Mhm.
but you also wanted to invest in the coach. Why?
You know, it's like, okay, when you have let's say you have a back problem, you're gonna get a massage, you're gonna see the chiropractor, you're gonna, you're gonna do all these different things and to ensure that you're healthy, right? So
Mhm.
again, it's also coming from different perspective. So Lee and I, even though she is my mentor, we also have a very personal relationship, right?
Right.
So sometimes, again, through the lens of psychology, sometimes we might not have that discernment. We're thinking about the personal side and not necessarily the professional side of things when we're giving advice or encouragement versus someone that is professional. And this is, okay, their job is just to coach you through what it is that you're doing. Their lens is going to be a little different. So it's going to be more on point.
That's okay. That's helpful for, especially for folks like trying to understand the difference between a coach and a mentor.
Mhm.
Those lines get super blurry.
It does.
Yeah, because I know I've got folks who I've been mentored. I've got folks who I am mentoring, but I've also got folks who hire me to support the work that they're doing. And that's a very different relationship, is a totally different dynamic. So that, okay.
Right. So you get something different from each of those sources, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I like the way you put it, where it's like, you have a back problem, you're going to get as many solutions in place as you possibly can. And that,
Mhm.
like, especially if you're doing something as important as building a business or just leading a team, you want to make sure you have all the resources that you need. I love it. Okay. And so you mentioned you did some work with Thor,
Mhm.
um, and we don't have to get into your whole background, but is there a experience that you had in your professional life that you would say you're most grateful for?
Most grateful. I would say my most grateful, gosh, that's hard. I would say my first position, I actually stayed with that company for 15 years. So I did a lot of growth in that like company because it was from, freshman year of college where it was like, okay, I'm just in the back end looking at policies and then it was okay, now I'm designing policy. Is it okay, now I have
Mhm.
staff. I got to report to, and okay, now I got to help grow the business. So that
Yeah.
was a great transition in learning in a safe space, right? Because I was able to have those entrepreneurial experiences, but I didn't have to have the weight to carry with it, if that
Mhm.
makes sense, right? I didn't have to carry that weight of, okay, I need to find the next big thing because others depended on me. It was like, okay, you got that, I got this.
And we good. That's it.
Right. So she carried the stress of that part while I was able to assist in growing in other areas, as well as growing professionally and personally myself. So I think that was probably the greatest influential, again, and because I didn't come into like business thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur.
Right.
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 But when I saw that opportunity, I was like, oh, you can do this because you have the experience, right?
Yeah.
You understand some of the challenges that are going to come your way. Yeah, you got this.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you researched it, you experienced it,
Yeah.
you got a ton of like insight and ideas that you're ready to execute on. How do you figure out like where you're gonna implement your skill set, right? Like, cause it like the world of business, the world of like the things that you've studied,
Mm,
that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? That stuff is expansive. How do you figure out like this is where I'm like you lean
yeah,
in on the social sector? How did you
yes.
figure that out?
Because that's what I was in. Like I was in the social service, right? And to more narrow it down, I was in like the assisted living, adult foster care world, working with DHS. And even when I was in that space with the larger business, I was helping smaller businesses, whether it was, okay, just to start out or maybe finding clients, trainings, etc. So when I stepped out, again, it was my first thought process, but until it wasn't, I didn't reflect until maybe about 2 years ago, like, no, like it all happened for a reason because you positioned yourself for it to come that way, for those results. So when I stepped away from that company I was with for 15 years and updated my LinkedIn, I got my first client. He reached out to me. Right?
All it takes is a LinkedIn update. Wait a minute. Let me.
That's all it took. I wasn't even thinking about LinkedIn in that manner. I was just like, okay, well, that journey has ended. Let me make it be known. And then I went about my business, and I was literally at the therapy office, and I thought he was calling for a therapy appointment. I was like, yeah, I'm available. He was like, no.
You don't understand.
Like, no, I want you to come and do an audit on my business and tell me how I'm doing. And I was like, oh, okay. Do that.
I could do that.
Yeah, that. So again, going in, I'm like, right, okay, so nope, I don't want to be employed. How am I going to set this up? And I literally had to hurry up. So please get registered so that I could then be a contractor, right? And then again, I knew what I was doing as far as audit-wise, knew what I was looking for. But I'm like, okay, so how do I now put that on paper so that he understands? And that's the consultant piece.
Because you can get it all day long and that's fine. But if they don't understand,
don't get it, right? And they don't know how to continue the process after you stepped away. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, so I did good.
Okay.
for what I knew at that point. And I was, of course he knew from my LinkedIn, like, okay, this is not what I do, but I'm here.
Yeah. So the fact that you were able to attract a client, right, in short order and really execute, and then from there continue to lean into opportunities that come through referrals. The thing with business, like the scariest part of business for a lot of people is the sales part, right? And like trying to market and be a piece of the business and all this stuff. So how do you move in that world? How do you navigate the work that has to be done? But also, like, it sounds like you have your own approach to like bring the resources in. Like, what is your secret sauce?
It was gonna sound a little cocky, but I think I'm the secret sauce. Right?
Tell them.
So when I speak to clients, it's okay. I'm going based off not just, again, the academic side. It's about the experience. And I'm not just taking a one-shot stop, approach. I'm actually listening to what it is your needs are. So even with the social service providers, right? So again, I have quite a few small businesses that owns group homes. Each of their approach is different, even though they're all doing the same thing essentially, and they're all in the same industry. And the paperwork that's required is the same, but again, their approach and how it is that the type of clients that they want to serve, the environment that they want to serve. So I have clients in Moorhead. So it's going to look a little different than the clients here in the Twin Cities, right? Your approach, as well as even who you're connecting with on the state level is different. So again, it is, how do you navigate that? And that's where I come in. So if you have questions, I'm available, right? You don't have to feel like you're in this, by yourself. And I think that's also the challenges of being a small business entrepreneur. You feel siloed. You feel like, okay, I'm here. I don't know what to do. I'm keep on fumbling and I don't have anyone to connect or ask questions to. So that's what it is. It's like, okay, you have my number, text me. You have my email, email me, right? So even as the business is growing, I'm still at that touch level where you're able to, I might not be able to answer my phone like I used to, but you can shoot me a text. I'm going to text you back and give you, and if it's something that is of urgency, we're going to handle it because again, everything is time. Everything is time sensitive on this side. So I think that's what it is. It's knowing that they are able to ask me questions and I'm able to provide answers or at least connect them with someone that's able to.
Right. That's major. Like if I'm somebody who is, everybody wants to do a good job at work. Like that's just the thing. You show up and you hope that the work that you do is appreciated because you perform well. And when you have somebody who can help you get a clearer understanding of what's going on, who can also like affirm thoughts that you're having about yourself and the work that you're doing, and then help you execute on that work, like, come on. Okay, you the secret sauce. I got it. That's good. That's good. I love it, man. Yeah, I think you are doing work that is tremendously impactful for people. And I don't want anybody to miss that. Like it's in this like business to business space, it'd be easy to assume that it's all transactional. But I'm not seeing that based on my experience with you and based on what I know about how the community's been impacted by the work that you do.
I appreciate it.
Listen, we appreciate it. That's that's it. Okay, cool. So part of this whole pancakes from scratch thing, at some point we got to get into food, right?
Listen, I'm a food. I travel for food.
Listen, you know what? You're right. So this is gonna be interesting. First of all, pancakes from scratch, the idea when I was little growing up, one of my favorite foods was French toast. Okay. I used to go to mom's all the time, every day pretty much. Hey, mom, can you make some French toast? And she'd be like, no, I don't really have time. It takes a while. I don't have all the ingredients. That's fine. Every once in a while, she would hook them up. Later on in life, I found out it was eggs and bread. Okay, wait a minute. Now, we had eggs and bread. They had to do nothing but throw it in the skillet. Why? Why did you play me like this? And then now, of course, the grandkids is here. Okay. All of a sudden, Nana and Granddad got all the time in the world to make pancakes from scratch. Where did all these ingredients come from? Y'all out here putting cinnamon on top of stuff. Get out of here. But what's beautiful about it is the moments that it creates, right? Like for them and for the kids, it's this opportunity for them to share time with each other. Food isn't just about finding something that tastes good. It's about the whole experience, as I'm sure you know now, like being a traveling foodie, that's different. But for you, let's start with just growing up. Is there a food that you had, like a favorite food that you had as a kid?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's gonna sound horrible.
Oh Lord.
Well, okay, let's set the stage. I am Jamaican, right? 100%. I was born in Jamaica.
Okay.
So what my favorite thing my grandmother made, and she made it so good. It sounds horrible, but it's really the chicken butt. And she used to fry that thing so hard.
What? What?
It sounds like what? But when I tell you, it was like a delicacy. Okay. And I loved it. Like I used to fight my brothers for it. Literally. Like, okay, I was the baby. And like, no, that's Candice. You gotta wait for like the next batch or we can get some more type.
It's like that.
It was like that. It was. I know.
You was a little pistol starter. That's what that was. You got you.
That was my favorite thing. And I mean, I've grown out of that since, when given into double digits. And it's not the same. Like it's only you have to be in Jamaica, you have to have, the iron skillet and all that. But yeah, that was my go-to. Like
That's
that was
just
yeah.
that's what's up. Like I said, man, it's about the experience, it's about the moments, right? It's probably a handful of them fights that's,
Man,
just sort
I'm
of
telling you, look, my brother started looking at me like, so you're not gonna share? Nope. Right?
Oh, you wanted some? It's all good. And so now you out here traveling the world is there a favorite experience that you've had? Like not just the food was the best, but like
Yes.
the whole thing.
The whole thing, I would say like my overall best experience was when I went to Ghana. Like the very first time I went to Ghana. Like the food, the remnants, and like it gave me a Jamaica feel. Like literally they were playing reggae in the streets. They had Jamaican flags on the car. And I was like, where am I at? I love this. The food had the similarities. And then I also learned about the culture, going through, because I like to, when I travel, especially with my daughter, I like to go to the museums and, see how the culture kind of came about, in a sense. What's that historical factor that brought them and made them who they are? And then enjoying the food surrounding that as well. So, yeah, I think that was probably my most memorable experience. And I'm like, man, you got to go to KFC. I have jollof and KFC.
What? KFC, let me find out. KFC in Ghana got jollof.
Yes. And then you can get like your chicken spicy, but it's a different type of spice, like here. It's amazing. Oh, and then Chinese food. I was like, look, you get the best Chinese food in Ghana. Get the fried rice.
I'm so confused. Listen, let me find my passport. I gotta get my life together.
It's like those little things, like, oh, what? Yes, and you gotta get the fried rice. It's like, yes, jollof is good, but get the fried rice. Go get the fried rice and the chicken.
Let me find out.
This is it. But again, that's that culture piece, right? We learned that they had an influence there, and how the food preparation and some of the things that are done within the culture. So, yeah.
Man, that's wild. But now your daughter is having all these experiences.
Mm-hmm.
She gonna have the hardest time ever trying to figure out her favorite food. I don't know what that. Listen.
Well, she has like a specific culture that she likes. She likes the Japanese culture. So anything pho, ramen, sushi.
Got you.
All of that. So when she was in heaven. She was like,
she picked a favorite dish. She picked a favorite region.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, yeah, we like this.
Just where's the globe? Just get the globe. Let me show you right over here.
This is what I like.
Wow, man. It's so there's something about like that intersection of food and culture and ambition, right? I keep saying on like every episode, I haven't figured out exactly what that tie is. There's something at that intersection that speaks to like the experiences that you have throughout life. The feels that you share with people and stuff like that. There's something there. I'm gonna figure it out before it's over.
I mean, I can see it. I can definitely see the connection of how, because I mean, ambition is dealing with their psychology too, right? It's that motivation. So that feel good. So you're connecting your emotions with food and how that drives you, right? So again, if you're thinking, like for me, I think about my grandma, like she is, no matter what she cooks, is like amazing, right? So when I think about like what motivates me, again, she motivates me. And then I see the tie of, okay, how is it that, why does she motivate me? Where's that connectivity, right? So if you have that good feeling surrounding food, and then how does that connect your drive? Again, I love good food. I
That's
always
it.
travel for good food. So that's my motivator when I'm traveling as well. Right?
All right. Okay. All right. Well, hey, okay, chill. We gonna talk some more about that. We're gonna have to. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Dissect.
We're gonna get that together. We're gonna get that together for sure. Well, listen, I appreciate you, man. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you making the time and sharing some good insights and perspective about, the work that you're doing and impact you're having on people and on industries. It's a very good look. So
I
thank
appreciate it. I do appreciate being here, and being on the other side of the table, the chair.
you. Yeah, well, before we take off, I want to give some space to you. Any final thoughts, ideas, advice you want to share before we go?
Push through the fear, push through those negative thoughts. What's on the other side is better than what it is on this side. Like, so you just learning from any and all experience, the good, bad, the indifferent. You can take away and learn what you like, what you don't like, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, right? So everything in life is an experience that's drafting and preparing you for the next thing, whatever that is.
I love it. I love it. And how do people get in touch with you?
My website, so www.coachcandice, so COACH, Candice.com.
Good stuff. Coach, I appreciate you. Keep doing your thing. I'm sure we're going to talk soon. All right.
Yes, definitely. All right, have a good one.